Namaskar. Welcome to Filmy Bites with UV, a show where we talk about some wonderful filmmakers and review great their work. But before we start, I want you to hit that subscribe and bell icon so that you can get all updates as we post them. With that note, without any further ado, let's get right into the show. Today let's start our episode with a Hindi horror short film, Forward. With a screen time of 6 minutes 3 seconds, Forward is a horror film hosted on eMotion Films YouTube channel. The film basically starts with this guy getting a forward message on his phone. He ignores the message and starts reading his book. It is then he gets a call from an unknown number warning him to be safe, and if things get out of hand, he is told to forward the message to get out of all this mess. Not able to understand what to do, the fellow ignores the call and then continues his day. Slowly, he starts experiencing these paranormal activities happening around him. Slowly, these things are getting too intense. What will happen to him? How is he going to get out of this mess? And how will this story end? Is the rest of the story. Now let's take a look at the technical part. Screenplay done by Harshvardhan Virar and Abhishek Shinde. Cinematography and direction both handled by Abhishek Shinde. Both the story and execution looks a bit old, or I must say outdated, as things look pretty predictable. The twist in the climax was a bit fresh, but then soon they turned it to the most predictable climax given to a short film of this genre. I personally think that if only they could have given a practical prospect to the film would have been much more interesting to watch. Especially when the subject of horror was a mobile phone, they could have experimented a lot with the script, implementing a lot of technology that could have really made this movie special, rather than making another ghost or booth movie. I really appreciate the thought of making a complete script in most of the scenes with only one character, but then when you talk about the creep or the scare they wanted to give their audience, I personally think it did not work out at all. Not at least with the visuals. The point of view or the POV shots did not work out with the script. That is because the entity was never revealed to your audience, and audience most of the time did not understand what is happening on screen. Somewhere the empty frames and the dull lighting was also a reason why audience could not really enjoy the feel of creep in this movie. Scenes where audience was supposed to be scared or surprised did not work out because of the implementation of POV. This entity was not seen to your audience, hence they started searching for this element rather than understanding that the POV shot of the camera itself is that entity that they have to be scared of. This constant search of audience resulted in the disconnection of the film, affecting their mood of understanding the film. Moving on to sound and editing of the film. Both the departments are handled by Bhushan Munjal. Cuts of the film were okay. No big transactions was a good idea. But when we talk about the color balance, I think they did not work on the color at all. Every single shot that they have stitched together was having its own color temperature. Again, stitching all these shots in one scene, we can see that most of the shots were not matching with each other. But then, the biggest drawback of the film, according to me, is its sound design. Most of the times, the BGM was too loud, and it is like narrating you to react according to the BGM, which does not work out as the visual is not that strong. Frankly, where editing and sound were supposed to be the most supportive pillars of a horror film, in this movie, these were the 2 points that will disconnect audience from the main storyline of the script. To conclude, this was an attempt made by this entire team to test their skills to scare their audience by their visuals or their film. Unfortunately, I must say that they are way behind from perfection. If only they work on their skills a bit more on their technical skills, I'm sure they're going to make some wonderful horror films. Waiting for their next project here at Filmy Bites with UV. I rate this film a 1.5 in our show. All the best.
Forward. Forward is an horror concept genre where a person is receiving a text and he ignores the text. Then he gets a call. Again, there is some confusion behind that call. And he decides to go for a sleep. That's where some panoramic or paranormal activities happen. What are they? Why is it happening? Is the rest of the story. On the concept wise, it was pretty simple story. However, the director could have shown some interesting elements in it. There was a lot of opportunities where you could get some goosebump moments, especially when the person is looking down from the gutter, or when he's lying on the bed. Lot of incidents which was happening around, where they could have shown some wonderful effects of horror films. Make sure your lighting is good, because the thing is, when he was lying on the bed, or when the bedroom is shown, there are two different timelines which is being shot. One, I think it was shot in completely night, and there is a part of a scene where you see a sunlight coming through and hitting on the character who is lying on the bed, but they portray it as if it's a night shot. So these are the few things which the director has to concentrate when they are shooting, especially with the timelines. With this, I rate this short film a 2 out of 5. Good luck.
The next movie in our review list is One Day in June. The film with the screen time of 6 minutes 16 seconds is a romantic love-based Malayalam short film posted on Goodwill Entertainment's YouTube channel. The movie basically starts with this young man who is getting ready to meet this lady. On that day, he wants to tell her a big secret, as he wants to propose her to start this relationship, to take this relationship to the next level, and he doesn't want that to happen with the base of a lie. Now, he is waiting for her in a park. Eventually, the lady walks into this park, sits behind him, and nervously, the guy expresses his secret to her. Now, what did he say? How did she react? Did this relation even start? How is the story going to end is the rest of the story. Moving on to the technical part of the film. The film is written and directed by Sony Joseph. The film really looks fresh. Frankly, the concept of the film is not that new, but then they did try to present it in the most refreshing format possible. I really appreciate the point that they wanted to deliver in the film. In order to do so, I see that they have missed a little bit of logic in the film. I personally felt that the beginning of the film was a bit slow and was not really contributing much to the film, as this detailing that you have shown was not really important at all. Frankly, I think that the movie should have been started at the park bench or the place where this fellow is waiting for this lady, and that would have increased the surprise element that you gave at the end of the film, and that would have really made this movie much interesting to watch. But then, whatever they did is very decent. I also feel that the performance of the actors was really an add-on for this movie. They had a perfect understanding of their script and they had a perfect understanding about their characteristics. Moving on to camera. Cinematography and color grading is done by Shelz. a wonderful color grade I have seen in recent times. Frankly, the visuals gave life to this movie. A fresh look, a very pleasant visuals really will make your audience get deeply involved into the film. The color grading of the film looks nothing less than a commercial feature film. Really love the visuals of the film. But then, somewhere I felt that they could have used a little more close-ups that would have enhanced the feel and emotion of the movie. But then, as I told, whatever they did is mind-blowing. Now moving on to editing. Music, VFX, sound and editing is done by Shekhar, which is mind-blowing. Frankly, when you have a great shot in hand, it is equally important that your editor is capable enough to make it a perfect cut and stitch it in such a way that the audience get to see a magical visual before his eyes. And somewhere the director has chose the right person to do that magic. As much as I feel Shekhar is the best choice for this movie, he made it look so wonderful that audience will really flow into the emotions of the movie. They will start enjoying each and every single frame of the movie. I must say, Shekhar really took this movie to the next level. To summarize, this is a wonderful short film. Not only it has a great thought to deliver, but some wonderful visual elements that you would love watching. With a little bit concentration on the storyline, I'm sure they are going to show us some wonderful films in coming days. Waiting for your next movie to be reviewed in our show. Here at Filmy Bites with UV, I rate this film a 3.5 star in our show. All the best.
One Day in a June. One Day in a June is a romantic kind of genre where there is two people meeting together in a park and they get to know each other well. However, at the end there is a twist in the tale, and how this couple meet, get their love success is the story after that twist. While I was seeing this movie, I was taken back to a mainstream film where a movie called Vinay Tandi Varavaya, where Jesse meets Karthik. So I was expecting that kind of intense, or that kind of shot which were shown. Those kind of these surroundings connected me to that. It was wonderful to see that, and the exact place which was shot was good. The location which was good justified the genre actually. So it was wonderful. The cinematography and other technical stuffs were good, decent enough, which makes it a good flick to watch. With this, I rate this short film a 2.5 out of 5. Good luck.
And that brings us to the Filmy Bites foreign film of the week. With the screen time of 12 minutes 29 seconds, this week's foreign film is Time Goddess, posted on Darby's Flag YouTube channel. The movie basically starts with this beautiful lady and this geeky looking guy traveling in a car. As they travel, the lady who is driving the car increases the speed to scare this geeky looking guy. As she does that, he loses the control over the car and the car starts spinning around. It spins so fast that this lady is forcefully pushed out of the car. An exact time where she is falling, she falls into a time warp that will pull her back in time. Now, what happens next? What will this geek do? Will she survive in different time? All these things are the rest of the story. Now moving on to the technicality. Written by David Black, directed and edited by Giardo Cerci, this film is a very unique film. The story and presentation of the film are really very unique, that I'm not able to recall any other film that is even remotely close to this film, so that I can compare and exactly tell you what kind of movie this is. I really appreciate the efforts that this team took to make this movie. The film contains dark comedy and very disturbing graphical images. I suggest weak-hearted people and children should avoid this kind of movies. I really love those titles, especially the cartoons made by Danny were really so beautiful that it added a new flavor altogether to this movie. When it comes to editing, I think the editing was really good. The flow of the film was really nice and the cuts they have chose were decent enough. But then if you're talking about graphics, animation and the color tones of the movie, I personally think that they could have been much better if they could have concentrated a bit more on these things. I think it would have made it much interesting to watch if they could have given a different color tone to a different timeline. One which is happening now could be in one color and the other one which is happening in the past should be in different color. They could have used some sapiens, or maybe they could have implemented a black and white, or if they really wanted to do a lot of things could be experimented there. I think they did not utilize that particular window. Frankly, if they could have utilized that window, the smallest confusion that happens at the beginning of the film could be avoided. To sum up, this is a very unique experimental short film. I really enjoyed watching it. If only they could have worked a little bit more on the graphic and visual quality of the film, made it a little bit crisper, I think this movie would have been much more interesting to watch. Hoping to see more wonderful outputs from this team. Here at Filmy Bites with UV, I rate this film a 2.5 in our show. All the best.
Time Gardeners. Time Gardeners is a sci-fi kind of one which was tried wonderfully. What happens if one lady goes to a situation where you go for a time travel, you're taken for a task all of a sudden, is the entire story of it, or the basic outline of this story. The cast was good, however in few areas something felt that it was a little overacted. However, due to their experience or the way they have shown their body languages, it was okay and they did a good job. Cinematography was good, but they could have enhanced few lightings or few more shots where they could have given some more life to the story. And the VFX was brilliant. However, sometimes you really come to know that this is not real. So they could have done VFX in a rather unrealistic way. They could have made sure that this gels with the story, because the way the narration, when we see those visual effects, it's like very low kind of thing, like the car, especially the car getting rotated, or few scenes which were so unnatural, was looking a little bit unnatural, so which doesn't blend to the way the story is getting narrated. So sometimes it gets separated up, or the scene gets a little bit separated out when it's shown, when it is seen visually, where they could have concentrated a little bit. However, it was a wonderful try, and the way it was visualized and shown to the director gives the credit. The short film is especially gives the credit to the entire people, and the way it was shot and way it was visualized or presented to the audience was in a good creative way. But there were few instances which I told which could have been concentrated. If they would have concentrated that, it would take it to a wonderful or next big one. With this, I rate this short film a 2.5 out of 5. Good luck.
And that brings us to the end of the show, guys. Hope you enjoyed our episode today. You can watch all these movies that we just reviewed by hitting the link given in the description below. I personally want you to watch all these movies. Write to us what do you think about these movies, which were your favorite ones. And if you are a filmmaker yourself and wants us to review your film in our show, all you have to do is get into the description below, hit one of the social networking sites, send us your film link along with a poster of your film. Write to us that you want us to review your film in our show, and we are going to review it. Once it is online, we are going to update you with a link. And you can also be a part of our WhatsApp group. All you have to do is get into our description, hit our WhatsApp link given in the description. You can come, you can discuss a lot about filmmaking, you can update yourself, you can give your updates about your films, and we are there to encourage you. Now with that note, till we meet next time with some wonderful filmmakers and their work that we are going to review in our show. This is me, Uday, signing off. Namaskar.